Human fingerprints are indistinguishable from koala fingerprints, but primate fingerprints are quite different. Does that mean that we evolved from koalas? And I remember actually doing this. I remember first learning about it. I think it was on a Steve Backshall program. He was a sort of a naturalist type guy here in the UK. And I remember he was doing a quiz once, and it was one of the questions he got wrong. What animal has the closest fingerprints to humans? And he went chimpanzee, and it wasn't. It was a koala. I wouldn't quite say they're indistinguishable, but they are certainly the closest looking things when you compare human fingerprints to, say, things like monkeys or chimps or orangutans or the like. Now, this is something which is often used, evolutionary speaking. Similarity means relationship in some way. If you've got similar looking things or similar features, there's often an assumption that they're in some way related. And then you get this term like convergent evolution that gets bandied around, where you have things that are apparently completely unrelated, and yet they have very much, big similarity. So can we use similarities as a way of assigning relationships, or are we looking at evidence of a common design? And that would be the further point, excuse me, to go into it. Any comments?
I think it's just a straight out fallacy. It's true that related creatures are similar, but going the other way, there are so many fallacies like this one here that you end up saying it's not a rule in reverse. Similarities do not mean relationship, even though relationship means similarities. So you'll find that the unrelated creatures have enough differences. So the biologist says, hey, that's a koala. Hey, this is a female human being. And so there's so many other differences. Like I have koalas living in the trees on my property. Now, I always tell people that when they're around in the mating season, don't worry if they hear a woman being murdered in the middle of the night. It's just the koalas. Their mating sounds are unbelievable, raucous. So I'm glad that human beings don't mate that way. So there's an awful lot of differences that tell you, hey, that grey furry object up a tree is not a human being, it's a koala. So that's the convenient rule. Where there's enough similarities, there's enough differences to enable you to classify them as koala, primate, or whatever. And, we've spent enough time on programs of the differences between apes and humans. In fact, I slip in a commercial on August the 31st. You've heard me mention that date before. And September the 1st, one of the new displays at our Creation Discovery Centre will be a Lucy skeleton and a instruction on how to tell the difference between Lucy and her chimpanzee relatives, because that's really what she was, a slightly bigger chimpanzee than the present, and the human beings. The similarities are almost non-existent, apart from the fact that chimpanzees breathe air, we breathe air, so therefore you have some sort of hemoglobin base for absorbing oxygen, but nobody confuses a chimpanzee with a human being. Even the little kids know which one is the monkey.